Question number 16 says, what is requirements traceability matrix? Requirements traceability is the ability to connect requirements to other documents or other artifacts, like the different types of software tests or bugs. So for example, I have test cases and I have requirements. Requirements traceability means that I can trace each requirement to its test cases, and I can trace each test case to the requirement that it tests. We have also bidirectional traceability, and bidirectional traceability is the ability to trace forward and backward from the requirement to the test case and from the test case to the requirement. Also, for example, from the test case to the defect report and from the defect report to the test case. Okay, this is bidirectional traceability. But now we are talking about requirements traceability, not test case and defect report traceability. So requirements traceability matrix, or RTM, is a document that contains the requirements and the test cases and the relationship between them. A very important goal in our project is to have at least one test case for each requirement. Okay, if it is a very simple requirement, it should have at least one test case. If it is a more complex requirement, it will require more test cases. So let's read here what he says. Requirement traceability matrix is a document that maps and traces user requirement with test cases. It captures all requirements proposed by the client and requirement traceability in a single document. So we write all the requirements and their traceability inside the same document, which is the RTM, or the requirement traceability matrix. The goal of the requirement traceability matrix is to validate that all requirements are checked via test cases, such that no functionality is unchecked during software testing. So like we see in this example, we have requirements, each one of them has a description, and we have test cases for those requirements. So for example, the login requirement has 3 test cases, the ticket creation requirement has 7 test cases, and search requirement has 4 test cases. In some cases, we also add the status of the test cases. Did they pass, fail, or blocked, or even not run yet? The next question is a very famous question, okay? Which is, what is the difference between static and dynamic testing? I suppose that you are already familiar with the answer of this question, but let's revise it together. So dynamic testing involves the execution of the component or system being tested. So if I'm testing anything, whether it is a code, a database, some APIs, if I'm providing input to the system and waiting for output, this is dynamic testing, whether it is on the unit level or even acceptance testing level. On the other hand, static testing does not involve the execution of the component or system being tested. I'm not providing input and waiting for output. Static testing has 2 forms. It has the manual examination of the work products, like reading the requirements and finding ambiguities in them, or reviewing the code, okay, and searching for example, some variables which are not declared correctly. This is called a review. Or it might be tool-driven evaluation of the code or other work products via static analysis. So if you are reviewing your code, you might use your IDE in order for it to tell you about the warnings and the errors inside your code. This is called static analysis, and this is a type of static testing, okay? Because you didn't provide any input to the code. So for example, inside your code, if you declared an integer and you didn't give it a value, okay? In this case, the IDE will tell you that there is a warning in this variable without executing the code. The next question says, what is the test plan and what is the information that should be covered in it? So we have many test work products that are produced during our project, like the test plan, test progress report, test summary report, test cases, and defect reports. The test plan is mostly the responsibility of the test leader or the test manager. But this is in the case when we have a test leader or test manager inside our organization. But what if we have only one tester in our organization? In this case, the tester is the one who is responsible of writing the test plan. So the test plan is a document which describes our goals, okay? It is like any plan. It's like personal plan, it is like project plan, but it only focuses on software testing. So the test plan is a document describing the scope, approach, resources, and schedule of the test activities. It identifies the test items, the features that will be tested, the testing tasks, who will perform those tasks. Okay, if we have, like we said, a junior tester, a senior tester, and a team leader, we will divide the tasks between them. It will provide also the degree of tester independence. Is all the testing performed by testers from inside the team, or for example, we might outsource some testing to another company. It also tells us about the test environment, the software and the hardware that the software will be tested on, the test design techniques that will be used, the entry and exit criteria, and the entry criteria are the things that when done, we are ready to perform a testing activity. The exit criteria are the things that when done, this means that we finished our testing activity. Also, we might write all the risks that might happen in our project, whether they are project risks or product risks, okay? And each risk has its impact and likelihood, and based on them, we begin to prioritize our risks. The test plan changes over time, so you begin to write it at the beginning of the project, but while you are going throughout your project, you begin to edit the testing plan. So as the project and test planning progress, more information becomes available and more detail can be added in the test plan. Test planning is a continuous activity and it's performed throughout the product lifecycle. We also have two types of test plans. For example, in small projects, we might have only one test plan for the whole project, and this is called the master test plan. And in this test plan, we talk about all the testing levels, okay? We talk about component testing, who will perform it and how will it be performed. We talk about integration, system, and acceptance testing. And also, we talk about all types of testing that will be performed, like functional and non-functional testing, usability, security, performance, any type of testing. When will it be performed, how will it be performed, and who will perform it. On the other hand, if we have a more complex project, we use phase test plans, okay? We might have more than one test plan inside our project. And those phase test plans are divided into two types. We might have levels test plans, for example, unit testing test plan, integration testing test plan, system testing test plan, and acceptance testing test plan. On the other hand, we have type test plan, okay? So for example, we might have a specific test plan for performance testing, which is performance testing test plan. Another test plan for functional testing, and another test plan, for example, for security testing. So based on the context and the size of your project, you choose whether to use one test plan, which is a master test plan, or a specific test plan for each test level and for each test type.